morning, everybody. Today, I have the absolute privilege of speaking with one of my favorite athletes growing up, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, Marshall Faulk. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Very excited that, it's not all the time you get to talk to your favorite childhood uh, players. I mean, you were part of one of the most exciting Super Bowls that I can remember with such a dramatic ending. You cannot script that.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Very like it memorable, and oh man, I would have liked it. I would have hoped for it to be a little less less stressed, but but man,
For
glad
for fans,
glad happy with the outcome.
of course, of course. So we're here to talk about something a little bit more important today, which is your involvement with uh, Foundation for Drug Free World. Can you talk a little bit about how you got involved with that?
Yeah. So after about I'm gonna say about 3 or 4 years of continuously showing up to different events and seeing them participate, help, advocate, and provide the information that they did. I just wanted to know more. And then just by asking a simple question is, so what do you guys do? Explain this, explain what you mean. And with that explanation came alignment of how I live my life and what I believe in and and how they go about administering the information. It was just perfect alignment. So I took that and I said, what can I do to help you guys? It started off with just me showing up at events and then I became their international ambassador, spokesperson, and it's really been a great crusade because of how we go about things. And I always start with this: the fact that a foundation will not ask for money and give up information, provide resources for people to get content and information. I mean, you just don't hear that much. And I just love being a part of this, explaining what drugs was in my life, what I saw it do, how I saw it tear down people. And now I get a chance to educate people and help give them the resources. So if they're having issues or they want to, or they're curious, which kids are, they know where to go get the information.
Can you comment a little bit about the quality of information that they have? I know that they
Oh
have
man,
programs. I've seen their videos and some of their pamphlets. They're very, very blunt and to the point.
yes, yes, and that's how you have to be. When you're tackling something that's so blunt and to the point, no pun intended, you have to give people that shock and awe. There's no fuzzy nice way around drugs. Um, they do what they do to you, and they leave just a trail of disaster and heartache and obviously death, life loss. So how we attack that is just being honest, just letting people know. And I'm not just talking about street drugs. I'm talking about prescription drugs as well. There's so many ways that we're trying to tackle this, and the more interviews that I can do using my platform at this point in time when it's all about football, just to let people know, just to bring awareness to you as to what's going on in the world is, it's for me, um, I couldn't pick a better time.
Young people are very, very impressionable, and like you're saying, your platform is very important. How important is it to you for athletes in general to be a part of something like this, to be a positive influence when there's so much negativity around our youth today?
And here's what I'm careful of, because I understand sometimes an athlete may not know the impact that they have.
Mhm.
And I remember it took me maybe a year or two to realize my impact and the level in which it was, and that how I lived my life, little kids was wanting to live that life. So I don't want to put it all on athletes. I want to put it on parents. I want to put it on coaches. I want to put it on teachers. I want to put it on doctors, lawyers, politicians, all the people that impact and influence what our kids, what our youth are seeing today and what they are inspiring to be. It's on us to live our lives a certain way and explain, when we have hiccups or bumps in the road and when things don't go right, explain why. So kids understand that there's no such thing as a perfect life. There's living your life the best way you can.
Correct. So you have an interesting quote that I found that says, drugs are something that it's someone else's problem until it's your kid. And by then it's too late. So my question to you is, why do you think a lot of times parents find the topic of drugs to be so taboo with their own kids?
Well, sometimes let's just say if you grew up, in the 70s and maybe you partake in some drugs and you got away from it and it wasn't your thing, you think because you live in a suburban neighborhood, a good neighborhood, drugs won't find you. And
Mhm.
you're only thinking street drugs. You're not thinking the stuff when you had a toothache that the doctor gave you, you had a tooth pulled, or you had some pain medication that your kids can get exposed to that. What I'm trying to tell people is this: a lot of the stuff that we see on the news, it's always referring to street drugs, and it's always referring to people in low poverty um, situations. Don't believe that. And you have a duty, even if you don't come from those areas, to help educate, empower, and for you to have the knowledge. Because if you wait until you are dealing with your kid to educate yourself on these issues, it may be too late. And let's just be honest. Most of the times, it is too late by then.
You're definitely correct. So we all know about your incredible career numbers in football, but I was also given some other really impressive numbers with your work with Drug Free World. Their program increased from 94,000 to 166,000 people enrolled in in the course. And then also before, they only had 55,000 complete the course, but after your involvement, they're up to 122,000 people completing the course. So that speaks volumes about how much of an impact your persona makes on the on the subject, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. I'm not my impact is just me using my brand and my likeness to just draw attention to something that needs the attention. I don't want to be patted on the back. Let's pat the backs of the people who completed the courses and did the work. They are the ones who need to be patted on the back. That's all I'm doing is just bringing awareness to an epidemic that we all know about. We continue to fight, and we don't really talk about the fight until the fight is taken to us by drugs. So I don't want that. Here's my thing. That's not enough.
You're correct. Everybody needs to do their part because kids not only look up to athletes, but they look up to parents and coaches, people you were mentioning a little bit earlier. But from my point of view, I appreciate you taking that stand. Something that you don't often see too much because I mean, I also get it. Everyone's busy, but you make the
Yeah,
time to make it happen. So thank you for that.
all good,
So
man.
so it wouldn't be fair for me not to ask you a couple of questions about this Sunday. We have a little game
Oh,
coming up.
oh yeah, little game. Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, we saw an AFC Championship game. That really was a preview for things to come. A couple of years later, between Brady and Mahomes, who do you have for this Sunday?
Man, like you just out the gate, like you don't ask anything about you just out the gate, like who do you have? All right, it's I can't believe I'm gonna do it again, but I'm picking against Tom Brady again, and for the same reason I picked against him against Green Bay. I just, you know, when you look at Kansas City's offense and you think about how much man defense that Tampa plays, now, yeah, they can adjust and play some zone, but what that means you can't pressure Mahomes. And I guess the question comes down to, can Tom Brady? I mean, he probably had one of the worst games he ever played against Green Bay, throwing 3 picks, and they still won.
Hmm.
So I just want to see, man. It's hard for me to pick against Kansas City. You know, they started the season 6-1 odds, finished the season 6-1 odds. They were the favorite the whole year, and they got themselves back in the Super Bowl. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So I'm going with Kansas City. Now, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I like 35-30, Kansas City. And Tom Brady will have that last drive to try to win it all, like he always does. And I don't think it's going to go in his favor this time.
So all the pressure, all of the focus is on the two quarterbacks. Do you see another player emerging as the superstar in this game?
If there is, it's going to be a tight end or a wide receiver, because that's just how the game is. You know, now there could be a defensive back to have multiple picks, maybe run one back. That can happen as well, but can't see it being anyone else.
One last question for you is, what are these players going through this week ahead of the game?
For those of them whom, let's say, they've been a part of it before, they're finding normalcy and try to, how do we, like, okay, I've been here before. The guys who've never been there before, they're trying to find comfort. Like, what do I do? How do I make this a regular game? The team that can understand that this is not a regular game, but yet go out and play their regular game, that's the team. And they're all trying to figure that out. They're all trying to figure out and get comfortable with it. And whomever can get comfortable first, that's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for comfort. I'm looking for, like, it's going to be odd. Only 22,000 people in the stands. It's just crazy. But, you know, let's see what happens in this Super Bowl. Who's going to be certain in this game of uncertainties at a time of uncertainty?
It's really interesting because you can't even
Right?
necessarily call Kansas City the new guys because they did it last year.
Right?
And you
Right?
have a
Yeah.
veteran core on the other side.
That's why I didn't. When I say new guy, it could be on both teams. It's the new guy that's never been there before. But for the guys who have been there before, it's a different. You know, they're just trying to find, okay, last year, here's where I was. I played in this game before. I'm feeling like this. What do I do with these feelings? And that's all you're trying to do. Like, what do you do with these feelings? Where do you put them? How do you emotionally deal with certain stuff?
Marshall, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. Thank you also for all you're doing for kids. It's a very, very important cause. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of Super Bowl week.
All good, brother. Take care.
Take care.
All right.